This is Rebecca Davis's project presentation for People and Nature, Spring 2017. I chose to do an article relating to how people relate to nature in urban areas with implications for public health. This article is Neighborhood Blight, Stress, and Health, a walking trial of urban greening and ambulatory heart rate by Eugenia South, Michelle Kondo, Rose Cheney, and Charles Browness. The stance of the researchers is that abandoned lots in urban settings is a public health issue with negative health consequences as a result of being in proximity to overgrown vegetation, trash dumping, and illegal activity. These negative health consequences are not only physical, but emotional and economic. The researchers designed this experiment to test biological outcomes conducted in real-world urban settings. To measure biological outcomes, the researchers used the body's stress responses. They are easy to measure as they are an acute reaction, but they also have long-term effects such as inflammation and disruption of the cardiovascular, neurological, and endocrine systems. This study demonstrates that people's connections to nature in an urban setting directly impacts their emotional and physical well-being. Conserving and healing green spaces is a conservation and sustainability issue. The primary goal of this experiment was to measure heart rate as an indicator of stress as participants walked around the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, past vacant lots. They took their walks before and after the lots went through greening remediation treatment. They selected two clusters of lots. Some received no treatment, and others received greening treatments, such as cleaning and removing debris, planting grass and trees, and installing a low wood post and rail fence. There were 12 participants in this study, living within 2 blocks of the lots. They were African American, 8 male, 4 female, and most had a household income of less than $15,000. They took walks past the lots before the greening remediation and 3 months after the treatment. The participants wore Garmin Forerunner 205/305 heart rate monitors on their walks. The image on the right is a diagram of the walking paths and lots from this paper. They analyzed changes in heart rate averages across each walk on the basis of 3 exposure conditions: being in view of study vacant lots, being in view of non-study vacant lots, and not being in view of any vacant lots. They calculated the average heart rate of the participants for each lot type. Then they calculated simple linear regression models to obtain difference in differences estimates, referred here as DD. Simple linear regressions are run to see if there is a direct or indirect relationship between the two variables, in this case, heart rate and lot condition. The DD approach allowed them to compare the change in heart rate over time within and between those living near the control and intervention sites in response to the greening treatment. DDs help the researchers validate the data. For this data, BPM means beats per minute. At the green sites, the final DD estimate between greened and non-treated vacant lots was statistically significantly lower, with a heart rate drop of 5.6 BPM, with a p-value of less than 1/1000. A p-value of less than 0.001 means that there is a chance of less than 1 in 1,000 that this pattern of lower heart rate would be seen in nature randomly. This is an indication that these are very strong results. Heart rate decreased after the greening treatment, but not with the control lots, the ones that did not get the treatment. These results confirm that connections to green spaces reduces heart rate. an indicator of reduced stress, which will have long-term positive effects. The researchers would like to expand this type of experiment to measure cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and blood pressure. This study offers good support for future trials. Funding was provided by the National Institutes of Health, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Health and Society Education Fund, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Forest Service. The authors made a note that the NIH, CDC, RWJF, and USDA had no role in this research. I want to advocate for sustainability policy at the top with our legislators. Legislators are concerned with money and being reelected. Let's come back to that. I believe that sustainable lifestyle choices are a public health concern. This article demonstrates that conservation of green spaces in cities directly relates to health, both acute and chronic. For those legislators, I can translate this into an argument that the cost of green treatments of abandoned urban spaces would lower the cost of health care and gain the support of their constituents. The primary APA reference is of this research itself. The secondary source is of the images of the sites in Philadelphia before and after the Horticulture Society worked on them. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.